We are working very closely with our men and women in law enforcement in Baltimore County. A lot of people don't know this, but we hear a lot about Baltimore City and their problems. In Baltimore County, our police department is understaffed. There is a morale problem. Johnny Olszewski increased the budget by 8%. Valerie will be talking more about this. And he really defunded our police by increasing the budget by 1.9% for the police. We have a great police department. My position as a Baltimore County resident, and Valerie will talk about this also, is we will never permit Baltimore County to become Baltimore City.
Yeah.
And the centerpiece of every great community, whether it's a county or a city, is a great education system and a great police force. If you do not have those two elements, you will not have a great county. So we're working on that. That's what Valerie's campaign is all about. If you look on your table, there is an envelope. And in that envelope is a proposal for a program called the Community and Police Partnership in Baltimore County. This is the first of its kind in the nation. This is where the thousands and tens of thousands of business owners and citizens are going to become partners, police partners. We are going to back our police department. We're going to join them. We're going to help them. We're going to make sure they get the budget they need. They need 2,500 cops, not 1,900. They need 2,500 cops. This county now has 850,000 people, not 600,000. And we need 2,500 cops so they can not only do their job as police officers, but they can work with youth in the community. You need those resources. They need it. So we are going to, for the first time in America, we're going to come together as citizens so that the Black Lives Matter and the ACLU and the groups that constantly attack our police will now have opposition from the grassroots citizens of this community.
Yeah.
And Valerie is helping to start that movement with her campaign. She's making that her #1 issue, and it's important. So anyway, I would like to conclude here by doing something kind of special. I think it's important. We know we are in a war. Now you say, Pat, we're not in a war. Well, we are in a war. We're in a war against evil that could easily come to our doorstep and do great destruction. And we have to pray every day for our leaders and for our nation. And things could get out of hand and unravel. And things could get very bad. But I have said this before, and I know people kind of say, oh, I don't think he really means that. I have said before that the women of America are the backbone of America. We have great women. You know, we have done some amazing things. A record number of women were elected to Congress in the last election. A record number. There are 300 women, Republicans, running for Congress across America. 87 black candidates are running as Republicans for Congress. The Democrats only have 35. We are moving ahead as a party of working people, belief in faith and family, and more than anything else, the Republicans are becoming the Freedom Party. And we know how important that is because we can witness every day on our television screens what's happening in the Ukraine to children and to families and to women when evil attacks freedom. And we're standing up to that, and that is a good thing. Now, finally about Valerie, if she wins, and I think she will, and I hope she does, and I pray she does, she will be the first woman elected as a Republican from Eastern Baltimore County.
Wow.
Not yet, honey.
No.
Boo that. Tony Keenel is here running for county council. There he is. And the good news is that the person he was going to run against, what the heck was her name? Bevins? Kathy Bevins has retired. My God.
Yeah, real
But for just a few minutes, getting back to the Ukraine, Valerie is also partially Ukrainian. So that explains a lot, okay? But I want to ask someone who had experienced what is happening now in the Ukraine in her youth. She was under communist dictatorship. She was under a war, and she came to America as an immigrant, became a lawyer, an economist, and now she's our great Republican candidate for lieutenant governor. I'd like for her to share a little bit of her sentiment and thoughts, having that unique experience in life. That's Jordana Shipperell.
Dear Patriots, 2 years ago, I was standing alone on Eastern Shore against Black Lives Matter, Marxist communist organization. These were trained Marxists. And Pat and Valerie McDonough were the first people in the state of Maryland who welcomed me to their show to share my experience with Marxist ideologies in schools on Maryland's Eastern Shore. Little did they know that I came from shelters, bombs, and destruction of my home country, which was Yugoslavia. It was during the Democrat reign and Rhino Republican influences in US Senate and Congress. At the time, they were supporting NATO expansion to the east and bombing and destroying Yugoslavia. That was not part of Soviet bloc. It was a neutral country at the time. It got balkanized, chopped in pieces, and people were shot down with uranium-flavored bombs at the time, and I was there. I was one of those people you see today on TV in shelters. The globalist progressive communist ideology has finally reached the United States shores, and they have infiltrated into our school system. Those are the people who are teaching critical theories all over your children. Those are the people who are teaching your children to hate your country. And why? Because only when you hate your country, you will abandon the values and you will not protect it when it's attacked. History will remember people here sitting today, and history will remember every single one of you, because you are 1776 patriots that are going to stand firm and protect the values, Bill of Rights, American Constitution, and Maryland Constitution against communist ideology that had spread all over the place. Valerie McDonough is going to be a historic figure 100 years from now, when her name and my name and all of your names and all of you leadership is mentioned in the school books of once there were people who were standing against global elitist communists. And I would love you guys to give yourself one huge round of applause, because you are it. You are the freedom fighters. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You are the ones who recognize right from wrong and evil from goodness. You're the people who believe in God. And the God Almighty is the one who gave you the right to freely speak. And God is the one who labeled you all essential. So anyone dividing you into essential and non-essential, into vaccinated and non-vaccinated, needs to be repelled firmly, because those are not the values of Maryland patriots. Those are the values of global elitists who want to divide you however and whenever they can. Because divided we fail, and united we stand. God bless you all.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for having me today. And thank you, Valerie, for your bravery and running.
gives you confidence about the future of our great country when we have people like Jordana and Valerie and others. We're going to be okay. I tell you, we're going to be okay. It's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be the next struggle for the next 20 or 30 years between Russia, China, and the evildoers and the anti-freedom people and the United States of America. 22 is going to be a great start for us. We're going to win back the House of Representatives and the Senate. Nancy Pelosi will go to Florida and retire. And then in 23 we'll impeach Joe Biden.
There it is.
So we are here today to talk about local politics, local government, grassroots, what America is all about. We're here today to talk about Valerie and her campaign for the House of Delegates. We all know the Maryland General Asylum is a terrible place. It's the worst place in Maryland. And it's getting even worse. She wants to go there and make a difference. Valerie, as we know, is strong. And she will stand up for us, and she will fight for us. And that's what you need in a House of Delegates in Annapolis. You can't be weak and you can't be unsure of your position and your agenda and your country and your God. You've got to be backed up with a tough backbone based on a foundation of what you believe in. And I know Valerie very well. She is all of those things. When I first got elected, even before I was sworn in, we had a terrible storm, tropical storm Isabel, in eastern Baltimore County. And some of you remember that. I, along with Senator J.B. Jennings and Andy Harris was a senator then, we set up 3 major town hall meetings for thousands of people to try to help them with their insurance. And Valerie coordinated and organized every one of those and did a great job. She was my volunteer chief of staff in Annapolis for 16 years. She didn't get a dime, but she knew how to do legislation, she knew how to do research, she knew how to follow the bills, she knew how to do the scholarships for the students, and she knew how to serve people. We had 5,000 service calls in 16 years, people with problems that she worked on and helped. So when she goes there, she's no rookie, she's no freshman. She's been there and knows what to do. Some of you remember the rain tax, one of the stupidest tax ever passed. We now have Trade Point Atlantic, great, just this week announced 2,000 jobs. Trade Point Atlantic would never have existed if we had not gotten rid of the rain tax in Baltimore County, because the rain tax for that 3,100 acres in Sparrows Point was over $1 million. And none of the business people wanted to invest there and have to pay that stupid rain tax. Valerie led the fight of the organization called Stop the Rain Tax. When you saw those signs on buildings that said Stop the Rain Tax, that was Valerie. We got the governor to support the idea. We passed the bill, and the rain tax no longer exists in Baltimore County, and Trade Point Atlantic has about 20,000 jobs. That's an applause. When the legislature passed, the legislature loves illegal aliens. They love them more than they love taxpayers and citizens. They passed a bill to put on the ballot that illegal aliens could get a discounted tuition like a veteran in Maryland would get. It's a lot of money, and the taxpayers would subsidize that discounted tuition. Well, Valerie went to work with Neil Parrott, state delegate. Neil Parrott did a great job with the computer, but Valerie was in the streets. And if you got a petition mailed to you, you got it from her. And they collected 150,000 signatures on the petition to set a record in Maryland. And that put it was on the ballot. We lost it by 1% because of the terrible liberal voters in Montgomery County, and George Soros spent $1 million. So now we have students going to school on our dime who are illegal aliens that are getting big discounts. Discounts that our veterans can't get. So Valerie did that grassroots shoe leather work to do that, to get that done. That was a big success. And also one of the great ideas she came up with, we provide, and Rick provides scholarships for children, young people, state grants. And Valerie put together what was called a Family Day program at the community college, where all of the students that got the scholarships, they would come there, get a citation and a picture with their delegates, and over 5,000 parents and grandparents and families came to those Family Day events which she organized. And one of the things that I'm very proud of that she helped us with and worked very hard, as you can see, she has done a lot of things. She's very active, she's very smart on getting things done. Every year for 20 years, we have had the flag-waving tribute to the victims and the families of 9/11 on 152 Bridge over 95. And it has been a great event. It's the longest event of its type in the country. It's had received national notoriety in Wall Street Journal. The brother of the pilot of the plane that was flown into the Pentagon was there one year, came up right off of I-95. He saw the flags and he came up, joined us. We've had a Medal of Honor winner with us. We've had the police, we've had the firefighters, we've had community leaders. We've even had Democrats. We've had dogs, no cats. Thousands of people over 20 years have stood on that bridge and waved those flags, and Valerie organized it every year. So she keeps it busy. Finally, there's an applause. Finally, when I retired from the legislature after 20 years, I told Valerie, I said, I'm retiring from public office, but I'm not retiring from public service. This country needs a lot of work, needs a lot of help. So we've got to do something that is effective, that works, that brings people together. And I said, you know, I've got a plan. We can either go to Sarasota and retire, or we can create Super Citizen. She said, I'll go to Sarasota, you go create Super Citizen. So we created Super Citizen 2 years ago. It's been very successful. We have our radio show on Saturday nights. If you haven't listened to it, please listen to it this evening. And I did that show for 20 years. And all I did was rant and rave every Saturday night. She joined me, now she's on the show. I still rant and rave, but I can't do it as much. So tune in on Saturday night. It's a fun show. You'll get to know our personalities. And also we have our television show that we did, and we've got thousands of people that have joined Super Citizen, and it's still growing. And so she was the executive director that helped put that together and handles all the direct mail and everything else. So my bottom line, and what I'm getting to, is that if anyone was ever qualified through energy and experience to represent us in that terrible place called the Maryland General Asylum, Valerie is the one. So it's my honor and pride to introduce my wife as our next state delegate. We gotta get her theme song.
First of all, I want to thank my husband for helping me along on this venture. It's one of the most important things in my life right now, and of course my husband is also one of my most important things in my life. A little bit about Pat. I couldn't be doing it without you. I really couldn't. Thank you. Thank you. It's really hard for me to speak about my husband because I get very emotional about it, and now is not the time I want to be emotional. But one thing that Pat forgot to talk about is I have some of my film crew here with me. I have my producers from WCBM 680 Radio. We have Ron Savage. Where's my other producer? There's another one. Did he leave? Is he here?
Oh, he's here,
Vern Anderson, where are you?
We might have went to a little minute.
Oh, well anyway, he's here. Our producer from WCBM 680 Radio, he's the one that keeps us all going and keeps us intact. Let's hear a round of applause for them. Now, I'm going to start my speech. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome and thank you very much for coming. I'm really humbled by the support and everybody in this room and the people that have done sponsorships for me. I can't even thank you enough, but I'm so glad that you're here supporting my campaign. Now, I've been in a lot of elections before, and I've worked many campaigns. 5 with my husband, Pat, but I've never been a candidate before. This is the first time I am a candidate, and I'm going to tell you something. It's really hard. It's not an easy task. And anybody that is a candidate for office, I want to personally thank them and continue to do the good work that you're doing. Number 2, I want to say something that's very important. A lot of us people do not realize the position of what a state delegate is, okay? And what it means to be elected to an office. When you're a state delegate, you vote on every issue that's that everybody in this room will vote. I will vote on every issue that affects everyone in this state, whether it's the budget, crime, or education. Those are 3 important issues that are affecting our state today, and we've got to take our state back. With that being said, I want you to all to know that I will work for you every day. Not just be a part-time delegate. I will be there every day. You will have my personal home phone number where you can call me if you have a problem. I will make sure that it will be taken care of. And another thing that I want everybody to know is my number 1 priority is to make sure that Baltimore County never becomes Baltimore City.
Yes.
Office of Delegate is really 2 jobs. One job is to be a lawmaker in Annapolis, and the other job is to be a community leader in your neighborhood and county. I will be both of those. As part of being a community leader, I am proposing an exciting new program called Community and Police Partnership that will help to fight crime, build the greatest police force in the United States. Okay. I will recruit families and business owners to support the effort to fully fund the Baltimore County Police Force. Johnny Oshesky defunded our Baltimore County Police. He increased the budget by 8%. But he only increased the police budget by 1.9%. That is a big difference. That's what you call a defund. Make no mistake about it, that is a defund. Johnny Oshesky received $150 million in COVID money from the federal government, but did not provide 1 dime to the Baltimore County Police Force. I'm going to say that again, not 1 dime. We now have 1,900 police officers on staff, but we need at least 2,500 police officers. Right now, there's many officers working double shifts. They're working overstaffed. They're working overtime, and they do. They're tired. They are tired. Make no mistake about it. When you are a police officer, you want to make sure that you do your top job, and when you're tired, you can't. So that's why we need the community and police partnership to help them out to raise money so that we can make sure that we have the best police force in Baltimore County. The same number of police officers are the amount as what we had when we had 700,000 residents. We now have 850,000 residents, and that residency in Baltimore County is growing every day. We need 2,500 more police officers to get the job done. We need these officers not only to fight crime, but to work with the youth programs and to help in the community. I will use my position as a delegate and a community leader to help build this great police community organization that will be setting an example for the entire nation as to how they can help, how citizens can help their police force and protect their community at the same time. Right now, we have organizations like Black Lives Matter, the ACLU, working against our police, which is creating a problem with increasing crime and violence problems. As a lawmaker, I will be introducing Project Exile for Baltimore County. Project Exile is an exciting new program, revolutionary law, that will transfer all murder perpetrators into prosecution by the federal government. The U.S. Attorney will prosecute murderers and making them eligible for the death penalty and sentenced without parole. Baltimore County will be the only place in Maryland that will have Project Exile. Now I'm going to go off record right now. Just recently in the Maryland General Assembly last year, there was a bill passed that if you are a minor, and I believe the age was 16 years old, that if you go out and murder someone, after 12 years, all of a sudden you're reformed, and you can come out of jail. Well, let me tell you something. I've been through friends of mine that have been murdered 4 times, close personal friends of mine. And let me tell you something, my friend, the boy that murdered her is still in prison. I know where he is. I keep an eye on him. Same thing with the other 3 murders. And when I think of my friend Rita, every time I look at a Christmas tree light, I see blue. Her house was all done in blue with the Christmas tree lights and all through the house and everything. That hole in my heart will never heal. At the same time, this boy his life goes on. Well, guess what? He's going to be up for parole. And you know what? He should have gotten the death penalty. Make no mistake about it. Or he should have stayed in prison the rest of his life. I'm tired of having people say, oh, well, he's a minor. Oh, he's a juvenile. He knew what he was going to do the day he did it. Our court records prove that. The judge, at the time of his sentences, said, David, what were you going to do? You didn't have your driver's license, you're 15 years old, you didn't graduate out of school, and did you know what David's reply was? David's reply was, I've had a gun, I had a car, and there were 7-Elevens along the way. That's what David's reply was. In the meantime, David's living, and my friend is dead in the ground. I have a problem with that. You look at people like Officer Caprio, that was murdered by youth. You know, a memorial, I love memorials, don't get me wrong. But I'm sure her family and her friends would rather have her sitting at the Christmas table, being with them. But they don't have that anymore. They have the hole in the heart, and that is the hole in the heart that they'll have the rest of their life. Okay. I'm starting to get emotional because this really does hurt me. Okay. Now, in Maryland, we have pro-criminal politicians that have abolished the death penalty. Project Exile will restore the death penalty for murderers and provide justice for innocent people, including our police, which many years ago, if you murdered a police officer, you got the death penalty. No more in the crazy state of Maryland. Baltimore County has a record number of murders from last year, and the murder rate is guaranteed to go up. Make no mistake about it. You've already seen things happening at malls all over Baltimore County, not just in White Marsh, not just in Townsend. They also have it in the other areas of town. A great community leader must have great law enforcement and a great education program. Project Exile and the community and police partnership will begin to build the great enforcement law program. The next program that I would like to talk about is, as your delegate, I would like to introduce a new position of education advocate for Baltimore County. The big problem with boards of education and the education department is there is a lack of communication or transparency or any cooperation between the parents, school boards, the parents and students and school boards. Everything is done in secret behind closed doors. This is how we got stuck with programs like CRT and curriculums with sexual training that are bad for our children. The new Office of Education Advocate for Baltimore County will enforce the Parents and Students' Rights Bill and protect children against violence and bullying in our schools. The Office of Education Advocate will have legal powers to investigate and subpoena boards of education on behalf of the parents, students, for any wrongdoing. That is an applause line. This is a powerful new office for the people. There are many other issues in Annapolis, and I will address as your delegate. My husband, former state delegate Pat McDonough, never voted for a tax increase in 16 years. I will continue that tradition and promise you here today that I will not vote for a tax increase as long as I am your delegate. I pledge to represent the backbone of our community, small businesses, working families, and seniors. Sanctuary policies for illegal aliens should not be allowed. We should not have open borders in Maryland, allowing people to illegally take jobs from our own residents and to cost taxpayers money. I will stop these policies. My father was a wounded vet in the Second World War. He was 19 years old when he was hit on the beach on D-Day in Europe to liberate millions of people from Nazi Germany. He returned home as a wounded veteran, and years later I came along as his daughter. By his side as a child and a young woman, he taught me the importance of America's greatness. He taught me the importance of patriotism. My dad taught me to believe in the idea that we have a responsibility to serve our country and to do what we can do to maintain that freedom. As an American citizen and Ukrainian ancestries, I witness every day the people like children, women, and families that are being murdered by a tyrant who hates freedom, and those visions make me angry and sad, but also make me appreciate the wonderful freedom that we have in America. The brutality and the violence to our children and mothers demonstrates how far our evil enemies will go to destroy our freedom. Freedom is what my election is all about. In America, freedom is what all elections are about. In Maryland, things are getting worse. The radical left and the Democrat supermajority have taken control of our state. They are trying to put things like abortion in our state constitution. Now let me tell you what just happened. I'm going off record here. Let me tell you just what happened in the General Assembly with the radical Democrats. They actually made it that I can be trained, I'm not a doctor, that I can be trained to perform an abortion. Okay? I can be trained for that. And I'm not a doctor. Kind of sounds like the 40s and 50s where they had what they call the coat hanger abortions. It's murder. Then they have another part in the bill where it says if you're 28, you give birth and you have this child, and maybe the child might not be healthy. After 28 days, they can terminate that child's life. What the hell is that all about? Can anybody explain that to me? That is murder. I'm sorry. No matter which way you look at it, it is murder. As your delegate, I pledge to be pro-police, pro-public safety, and pro-crime victim. My Education Advocate Office proposal will bring excellence in education and enforce parents and students have rights. I pledge today to go to Annapolis and fight the tough battles as your delegate. And I will ask you to join me in the effort to take back our state. I want to thank everybody again for coming here. I appreciate and love you all. And I'm just overwhelmed with everything. God bless our state, God bless America, and God save America. Thank you.
To watch to go.